Well, hello there, YouTubers. So today I want to talk about something called squashing. And the way you do squashing is by taking all the commits that you have and squashing them into one. And this is something that you do with the rebase command in Git. So let's take our branching demo here and let's go ahead and clone it. Let's copy it to the clipboard. And I just downloaded something called conemu. Let's see if it's installed. So here it is. Let's go ahead and run it. And just this is the first time running it on my machine this time. So let's see the properties. I don't want to do that just yet. Let's see if we have properties for this. Let's go ahead and move into our development environment. Let's go ahead and clone our repository. And now we have, already exists. Okay, so we have that. So let's go into branching demo 2. So now that we're there, we can do a git status. Okay, so we are there. And what we're going to do from here, we're going to start Visual Studio Code. And let's say that we have some changes to make to our project. So we're going to make several commits. And you want to commit along the way because sometimes you code and you don't want to lose your changes. And sometimes you just want to get back to where you were. So one easy way to do that is just to keep committing along the way. Now, when you're working on your own environment, you will be committing small commits, very granular as you go. But when you go to merge and you're in a team, you don't want to necessarily burden your team with all these different commits. So what can you do? You can take that and combine all those individual commits into one big commit. And this is all before you actually push. So you want to squash before you push. You can still do it after you push, but you're changing history at that point. So you don't want to necessarily do that. So let's go ahead and take this and let's see what branch we're on first of all. So let's see. We are in a feature, right? So let's say we're in feature X, update index list. So let's say that we want to get back to our master. And from here, we're going to create a new branch. And I just gave it a generic name, but of course you would want to give it a name that makes sense for your feature. And I'm not sure why it's showing up like this on here. So, actually, I shouldn't be here. So let's go ahead and do it over here. So let's see where we are. I got lost in that. When I started Visual Studio, it started the other command line. So this is where I want to be. So let's go ahead and clear this. So as you can see, we're already in the branch, new feature, more pages. So now that we have Visual Studio Code open, let's go ahead and say we added a new folder. Let's see, we have the child agent. So let's say that we have a folder. Let's create a new folder. And let's call it, for example, components. And let's go ahead and create some new files. And let's create another file there. And let's just say that, for example, we had some kind of component and let's see. And let's say that we use comp1 from comp2 or something, and we can say import comp1 from, you get the idea. We're not gonna do anything else. Let's just say that we have those two files. So we go ahead and save everything. And we have a small commit. Let's say we tested and everything. So now if we check our status, we have that. So we add the components. And now they are staged. So now we want to, let's go ahead and clear this. And let's say that we want to commit everything. Okay, so we have our components. And then let's say we go back to Visual Studio Code and we add some more meat to these components. So let's just say so we're just making some changes, right? And we go ahead and export this. So we save this. And so we have a change. So we go back over here and then we check our status. We have that. So we go ahead and add everything and do another commit. And we would add something meaningful here, but for now, let's just say we refine component 2. So we do that. Now we have 2 commits. Okay, and let's go back into Visual Studio Code, and let's say we add more meat to it, and maybe we add more meat to component 1, and maybe we do something with an input or something. You know, you get the point. And we make a change here, whatever, right? Actually, you know, whatever. We add more code. So we have another commit, and we check our status. And we go ahead and add that. And we go ahead and commit it. And so now if we look at our status, okay, if we look at our status, we see that we don't have anything else to commit. Now we look at our log, and you can see in our log here that we have 3 commits. We added this commit, and this commit. And this commit here tells you that here's where our origin started. So basically, since we checked out from the master repository, we have added 3 commits. So we may not want to go ahead and push this up as 3 separate commits. We may want to push it as 1 commit. So the way to do that, and to get out of here, we can just press Q, and let's go ahead and clear this. So when you do that, you can do something called rebasing, and we're going to squash all our commits. Now be careful about this. Make sure that you do have your right count, because once you start this process, it can get a little weird on you if you don't do it right. So make sure that you do follow these steps exactly. So what we do is we do git rebase -i head in uppercase, just like this. And then we want the last 3 commits, because we're going to be squashing the last 3 commits into 1. So when we do git rebase -i, this is an interactive mode, and it's going to start doing that. You probably don't see it down at the bottom of the screen, but it's telling us a lot of things. So now in here, we're in the VI editor or Vim, and what we want to do is everything that says pick is going to go as an independent commit. So here what we do, and when you're in VI, one simple thing to do is if you press escape and then I, you don't have to press the first time, you can just press I, it'll start inserting. So I just pressed I, so now I can type in some words and say squash or something like that, right? But I don't want to squash the first commit, I want to squash the second commit. So I just press the down arrow, press squash, and get rid of the word pick, and then do the same thing with the second one and put squash. And so now I'm going to be committing this first commit, and squashing these other two commits into that one commit. All the changes are going to be there, but they're going to go in as one commit. So now what I do is I hit the escape key, and now at the bottom, hit colon. You can see the colon down here, right? And so I'm going to put the word W, which means write, and the word Q, which means quit, and exclamation, which is going to save my changes to this editor file. And then I hit enter, and it's going to start doing something. And now it brings me to the next screen. So this next screen, everything that is not in a pound is going to get committed as a commit. So now what I'm going to do is I can get rid of this pound up here if I want to, right? And I say added, or I can change these commits or comment them out, but I want to leave them. So and I may want to just say I added components and so on, right? So I can leave these, or I can comment them out at this point. Or I don't have to make any changes, just leave them. It's still going to put them as one. So now what I do is I hit escape, and once again, colon, write, and quit, and then exit. So you notice down here that I have colon, write, quit, and then the exclamation. So once I do that, now when I look at my commits, if I look at my commits in Git DK, you're going to notice that I only have one commit, right? So everything got compressed. This is my origin where I came from, and this is all as one. If I check my log again, let's go ahead and clear this. If I check my log, now you will see that I'm only one commit, whereas before I was 3 commits away from the master. Now I'm only 1 commit away from the master. Now at this point, I can go ahead and commit this as one commit. So I can go ahead and say, let's go ahead and check our branch. So we can grab the branch name. And so now I get to push. And my remote is origin. And if you're in doubt of what your remote, typically is by default, your remote gets named origin. So if I look at my remotes, you can see that it's origin. So I can say git push origin, and just go ahead and copy this branch. And once I do that, I'm going to be pushing over that branch up to the origin. And so now once I push that, the reviewers can see it as one commit. So if I go back to GitHub, when I look at this branch, let's go ahead and refresh it. And new feature, more pages. And you notice that I only have one commit. So that's a way to squash. And this is when you want to combine all your commits into one. And I know I've ran into cases where I may have 10 commits or 11 commits, and it's easier for your reviewers to just look at one big commit, and it makes it easier. And you can get more detailed in your description in the VI. You can actually add a lot more content and just say what you made, what changes you made. So when I look at this commit, let's see if we can look at it. So if I look at this branch, okay, I see one commit. Where can I see my commit? So up here, I look at my commits, and you can see the commits for this branch. Now, one thing about it is, if I create a pull request, and I go ahead and create the pull request, you will see that there's only one commit. And in this commit, they can see all the changes as one, instead of seeing a whole bunch of little commits. So that's the way you squash. There's other things you can do with Rebase. There's different ways of doing things. And just keep in mind also that if you squash, let's say for example that after the first squash that I didn't commit, I didn't push my changes up. I can go ahead and squash again and again before I commit. As long as I do it before I commit, I can continue squashing, and that way I can just push one big commit instead of pushing a whole bunch of granular commits. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. And as always, please remember to subscribe and leave your comments below. Thank you again.